2026 is right around the corner, and with every new year come new design trends that make print-on-demand sellers a lot of sales. Fortunately, Kittl just released their 2026 design trend report with 10 trends predicted to blow up in the new year that we can apply now to capitalize early on the demand. In this video, I'm gonna break down all 10 design trends. I'll show you how to use these trendy design elements and fonts in your designs, and we'll research some best-selling designs that are already incorporating these trends that you can use as inspiration to make more sales and grow your brand. Also, be sure to watch until the end where I'll reveal 3 honorable mentions included in this report. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Adrian, a self-employed entrepreneur who's generated multiple millions in sales across 2 apparel brands, and I help people make money online with Shopify and print on demand. My goal is to create the most positive and supportive community of print on demand sellers here on YouTube. So if that's you, join us by subscribing and interacting in the comments. Let's just jump into trend number 1, which Kittl is calling naive designs. Here in the report, it explains that naive design is messy on purpose. All wobbly lines, uneven fills, and scribbles that feel more honest than polished. It borrows from childhood drawings and handmade doodles, leaning into perfection to create something raw, warm, and full of intent. What looks unfinished on the surface often carries more feeling than something clean ever could. This to me really feels like the evolution of the doodle art trend, which really blew up in 2025. It's like doodle art designs, but intentionally sloppy and imperfect. This best-selling shirt is already capitalizing on this trend, and in my opinion, aligns pretty well with that naive design style. And this is actually really cool. In the corner of each trend, Kittl actually gives us recommended fonts and elements for each trend, which we can use to create designs. So here we can see that one of the recommended elements is called Little Jimmy. To find those elements, I'll just tap illustrations, search Little Jimmy, and now we have a bunch of naive style elements that we can use in our designs. What's cool too is that if Kittl doesn't have an element that you're looking for in this style, you can always create one in seconds using Kittl AI. For example, I created this naive style design in Kittl, which took about 1 minute. By combining this cat illustration from a Little Jimmy element and then used this Cricket Crack pen font style that was recommended in the trends report. But let's say you're in the dog niche and you want to create a naive design for dogs, but there isn't a dog element in Kittl. I'll just select my design, duplicate it. I change the text to say easily distracted by dogs. I'll tap back on the design, select smartboard, and input a prompt. I just said, make the cat a dog in the same style. Tap generate, and in about 15 seconds, it created this dog design for me. Just for fun, I hopped into Printify and put the cat design on this trendy Comfort Colors tee so you can see how it looks on a t-shirt. Personally, I think this design looks super janky, like it was drawn by a 5-year-old, but that really seems to be the point of this trend. Trend number 2 on this report is the Trinket design. Here we can see it says Trinket design turns everyday objects scanned, snipped, stripped of context into visual archives. Sometimes ordered, sometimes chaotic, always layered with meaning. It's part catalog, part collage, part semiotic experiment. The way I interpret this trend is stacking variations of similar elements. One similar trend that sold very well in 2025 have been collection elements in a similar design style. For example, this best-selling frogs and mushroom t-shirt design is just a bunch of related design elements stacked together. And this best-selling boho chickens t-shirt shows different illustrations of a chicken. Back in the report, we can see some of the recommended design elements. For this Trinket style design, just tap illustrations, search your niche. Let's say I'm in the gardening niche and I want to create a collection of flowers in a line art design style. I just searched black flowers. And from here, I can choose from the selection or use Kittl AI to create similar design elements. I just selected a bunch of flower illustrations that I found here on the left and combined them together to create a design. Back in Printify, I put the design on a Comfort Colors tee so you can see how it looks. I feel like this trend could work for pretty much any niche and it's very simple to create for. Trend number 3 is called Grainy Blur. Here we can see it says Grainy Blur keeps shape shifting. It's part ethereal design, part grainy gradient, borrowing edge from chunky outlines, and this year it's all about tactility. Dreamy florals, toxic halos, soft focus blobs, invisible grids. By pulling in gestures from spray paint, airbrush, and print grain, it brings analog warmth to digital surfaces, sometimes raw, sometimes refined, always layered and alive. This kind of seems like the Y2K trend blended with 90s grunge, and reminds me of 90s bootleg designs like this bestseller. I also managed to find this best-selling airbrush tank top that also reminds me of this trend. Back in the report, we can see some of the recommended elements. In Kittl, I created this grainy blur design by going to templates. I chose a bootleg template to work from. I removed a bunch of elements from the template, then tapped illustrations, searched acid graphics, and added this scorpion element to the design. Here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Design trend number 4 is called type collage. The report states type collage treats typography like material, stretched, spliced, scribbled over. It borrows from collage gestures to give digital layouts that handmade, cut and pasted feel. Blocks of type clash and overlap like headlines torn from a zine, channeling the raw energy of 90s editorial design. This design reminds me of old school grunge rock. I personally think this best-selling sticker design really embodies this trend. I also feel like this t-shirt is really in line with this trend. Here we can see some of the recommended fonts and design elements. I created this type collage style design by starting with a Kittl template, and then adding some of these urban shapes elements. Here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Design trend number 5 is called punk grunge. Here it explains that punk grunge brings back the raw language of underground print culture. Xerox textures, jagged cutouts, ransom note type, tape marks, graffiti scrawls. It's rough, loud, and proudly anti-polish. Nothing's clean, nothing's quiet, that's the point. To me, this kind of seems similar to the type collage trend, old school Y2K meets grunge. A really simple example of this trend is this best-selling t-shirt here. Here's another bestseller with the punk grunge aesthetic. And this notorious RBG sticker also seems very aligned with the punk grunge trend. Here we can see some of the recommended design elements and fonts. Here's a punk grunge style design that I created by blending one of the recommended font styles with one of the recommended design elements. And here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Trend number 6 is called signal graphics. The report explains that signal graphics is a kinetic visual language born from 90s TV branding. Think music channels, wild idents, and anything that moved like it was trying to break the screen. Type and shape act like animated objects, colliding, mutating, exploding in hyper-saturated cartoonish chaos. Its comeback rides the wave of 90s and Y2K nostalgia, but it's not just retro. It's a design style built to interrupt, made to move, and impossible to ignore. Is it just me, or does this design trend scream MTV music? I feel like this Heart Anatomy sweatshirt is a pretty good example of this trend. I also found this bestseller, which totally has those signal graphics vibes. Back in the report, we can see that it's recommending an element collection called 90s Baby. I created this design using one of the 90s baby design elements. And here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Trend number 7 is called blueprint design. Here it states, blueprint design borrows the language of technical drawings, grids, side views, exploded diagrams, arrows, measurements. But it applies them to everything from sushi to sneakers. Stripped of function, these specs become graphic style, turning everyday objects into blueprinted icons. This trend I have not seen much on t-shirts and apparel yet, so it's going to be fun to see if it takes off in 2026. I could also see this trend doing really well for wall art. I did find this guitarist t-shirt which lines up with this trend. Here we can see some of the recommended design elements. In Kittl, I created this design using one of the recommended systematic hunger design elements with a funny slogan. And here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Trend number 8 is called distorted portrait. Here it explains that distorted portrait stretches, warps, and reshapes the human face into something surreal, strange, or funny. It blurs the line between collage, caricature, and digital manipulation, pulling from cartoon logic, 90s editorial, and today's filter culture. The result, a warped aesthetic that's weird, polished, and totally intentional. Because these are future trends, some of these, like this one in particular, are actually pretty tough to find right now on print-on-demand products. This hustle image here, though, does remind me of 90s bootleg designs. Something like this design here. You could even use Kittl AI to warp images like this or make them look more like caricatures. Here it's recommending the element collection called Look at Me. So I created this design by using one of the Look at Me elements, but you can have fun playing with Kittl AI as well. And here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Trend number 9 is called Future Medieval. Here it explains that Future Medieval revives the visual world of the Middle Ages. Black letter type, illuminated pages, mythical beasts, heraldry, dense ornament. It doesn't stay in the past. This style fuses the sacred with the digital, bringing medieval symbolism into screen age design. The result is both ancient and hyper-modern, a collision of myth and interface. This to me seems like a blend of the popular castlecore with the Y2K trends of 2025. Something like this where it has that old school Y2K font blended with medieval elements. Here we can see the recommended design elements and fonts. In Kittl, I created this future medieval style design. And here's how it looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. The 10th and final design trend is called surveillance design. The report states, paranoia made visual. Surveillance design pulls from the cold eye of machine vision, CCTV grids, facial tracking, biometric scans, thermal imaging. It turns the aesthetic of control systems into graphic language, reframing oversight as style. This is another future trend prediction that I have not yet seen a lot of. Although it does make me think of this type of design style that I've been seeing selling very well in 2025. Back in the report, it's recommending what's in my bag elements. I created this design using one of the what's in my bag elements, but you could have some fun using AI with this trend as well. And here's how that design looks in Printify on a Comfort Colors tee. Just before we hop into the 3 honorable mention design trends, I wanted to mention that as of November 1st, Kittl has made many of its most popular AI design models completely free for everyone for a limited time. That means no pro plan or payment required. This means all new and existing users can use these AI features for design creation, mockup generation, editing, or anything else. It is limited time though. So whether you're new or already using Kittl, I recommend jumping on this while it's free. I've included a link below to learn more. If you're not yet using Kittl, you can try for free by clicking the link below or get 25% off a paid plan with code AdrianYT. And now for the 3 honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is this kidcore design style. The report reads, sticker overload. Kidcore brings back the toy-like energy of 80s and 90s anime graphics. Neon colors, bubble letters, wide-eyed mascots packed into cluttered, joyful layouts. It's chaos by design where nothing matches and everything pops. This actually reminds me a lot of this dolled up trend that was included in Pinterest 2025 trends report. Honorable mention design trend number 2 is called AI abstract. The report says machine weirdness as style. AI abstract turns generative glitches, warped anatomy, surreal textures, painterly errors into a visual language. It's not about realism. It's about embracing the strangeness that only machines can make. This trend is very unique and one that I haven't seen a lot yet. So it'll be really interesting to see how this manifests in 2026. Honorable mention design trend number 3 is called Frutiger Arrow. I probably butchered that, but here in the report, it states tech optimism circa 2002. Frutiger Arrow revives the glossy blue sky aesthetic of early digital branding, glassy buttons, water droplets, swooshes, gradients, and soft humanist fonts. It's the look of a future that felt friendly, global, and just around the corner. This trend personally reminds me so much of 90s computer graphics. And surprisingly, I actually found this best-selling t-shirt that kind of reminds me of this design trend. Here's another t-shirt design style that aligns with that Frutiger Arrow trend. If you enjoyed this design trends video and you want to see more like this, comment the word trends below so I know to keep them coming. As always, I've created a bunch of free resources which you can find below, including a link to my podcast called the Print on Demand Podcast, where I teach sales and marketing strategies to make money online with Shopify and print on demand.